Hello, hello. Hello, Beverly, and welcome everyone to
Hey, Lenny.
Mindfulness Mondays. And we have Beverly with us today. Hello. And
Hi.
yesterday was Mother's Day. Yes. Did you have a good Mother's Day?
Pretty good. It was a really restful day for me on
Hmm.
purpose. Hmm.
On purpose? Okay, good. I had a great Mother's Day. I got a chance to see for the first time, or at least hug for the first time, my great niece, my one and only great niece. My sister is a grandmother, and we've been celebrating over Zoom. I've seen her in person, but I didn't hug her because it was social distancing. So this is the first time I ever got a chance to hold that sweet baby. She's about 8 months, and as we were talking earlier today, that is one of the traumas, I guess, or emotional issues is for those aunties and grandmothers and in some cases even mothers who were not able to hug loved ones because they were so far away, especially the newborns. Your
Hmm.
daughter or your niece or someone is in the same city, but you can't even go to the hospital to see the baby and
Hmm.
let alone hug the baby or anything. And that was happening all throughout the country. So when you talked about special honor and appreciation for mothers, and we were talking about the different things that have happened to mothers this year, that was one other one that I hadn't even thought about because I personally was just feeling some kind of way because I couldn't hug my first great niece. So, and today we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about our special honor and appreciation to the mothers from Mother's Day and beyond. So, Beverly, it's all yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, mothers are to be honored all the time, uh, with a special emphasis on Mother's Day. Yet, as Linus is saying, because of the COVID situation, the scenarios, the events, the circumstances, oh my God, the myriad of circumstances, I want to give a special honor today because it tested us in very different ways. It took us to very different places. It caused a much greater toll. And so we're sending love to mothers everywhere, whether you're a birth mother to your own children and or the mothers of many, supporting and empowering others along their journey. Yet again, in this most challenging time, we especially appreciate all of you. 2020, and it continues on into May, is a year plus. It has been a heck of a year plus, and it's still going on. Yet I want to say nothing that our mothers or our grandmothers taught us could have prepared us for what we would face and the very difficult decisions we would have to make during this era of COVID. There has been so many compounded roles for mothers that we had to play and are still managing uh, the many experiences, some devastating, all challenging, many very, very confusing. It's really taken a toll on each of you. I want to acknowledge you, sincerely hoping that I have left none out, but I want to try to pinpoint or target specific areas, issues that mothers have faced this year and where you needed to step up to these plates. Um, but if I missed anyone, missed any situation that touched your life, please write us a note in the comments and we will address you back as soon as possible. For start, though, I want to acknowledge all of the men, women, and children, not just mothers, men, women, and children who have lost their mothers uh, to the COVID experience, to the COVID virus. Our hearts go out to you. We acknowledge those mothers who lost their children to the virus. Our hearts go out to you. And not to be remiss, I want to acknowledge all those mothers who lost children to the virus of hate and inhumanity. Maybe other crimes like drive-bys and gun violence in any way. We acknowledge you and send you our love and our support. We are sending appreciation for those who have great empathy, extended to feel deeply for those far outside of our reach, people who are not even related to us, but we feel in our hearts what many of those experiences have been. Appreciation to those who have been there for other people's children. That's the mothers of many, the village, if you will, who've given and continue to give emotional support, spiritual support, financial assistance, and in many cases, shelter. For all the mothers who had to do homeschooling, and boy, that was a scale of challenges. Sometimes the schools were open, they were not open, hybrid situations, but we had to, you had to, I didn't have the experience. I homeschooled my child a long time ago, decades ago, when it was nothing like COVID. So I could slightly appreciate the trauma. I could imagine how very, very challenging it was for you to do that, yet while juggling so many other responsibilities. To all of you working from home, on site, off site, in and out, again, a hybrid kind of situation, in the house with your families and loved ones or whatever the relatives were, and having your patience really, really taxed. Some of those situations resulted in a lot of conflict. I believe all of them have tested our love, but yet you stood through it, and we acknowledge you. I want to acknowledge those who are always figuring out how to maintain a host of responsibilities that they even had before COVID, but now under this situation, under the restrictions, under the safety risks of this pandemic. I talk about a mountain load of weight on your shoulders, on your minds, keeping you awake at night, trying to figure out what to do, how to do, and what's coming next, and how long is this going to last. Also, to those who became the spiritual heads of their families in very, very different ways than previously. And to many of you, a great many of you that I've met by the hundreds who are taking care of elderly parents and other relatives or friends and our neighbors, uh, doing your community work, your church work, but having your family members ill at home or at a distance you have to get there while juggling both their lives, their households, and yours is quite a challenge. And so we acknowledge you. Like I said, if I left any particular situation that relates to you out, uh, charge it to my head, not to my heart. But do send us a note and we will talk to you as soon as possible. All in all, I always say if you're a mom, you're a superhero. And I don't mean mystical, but yet you are magical in terms of the things that you handle, you juggle, you think about, you create, you stand under enormous weight and pressure all the time from all kinds of scenarios in your life. And you stand. That does make you a superhero. You're a woman of faith, whatever your belief system is, it's a source that lets you know that you can make it through no matter what's going on. And you just you keep on looking forward to the future, even though the present seems like uh, an enormous weight on your heart, pressure on your mind all the time. But you look forward to hope. You are amazingly creative, and if anything, I want to say that was a big step up for all of us, especially you with younger children and teenage children in your house, is coming up with creative alternatives to all the restrictive things that you can no longer do to keep your children interested, stimulated, encouraged, having some joy, some fun, some of the naturalness of childhood that was, again, robbed by the restrictions and safety mechanisms. You had to come up with that stuff and you did it amazingly well. And also, uh, those of you all who have what I want to call uncompromising love. Sometimes I talk about this, and I hope no one is offended by this, but I realize there's so much of the pressure some people explain to me about being in the household with their families and trying to manage all those emotions and moods and experiences and demands and responsibilities and take care of your work, your job, and whatever was on you. Uh, some people would say, I love these people, but I'm having a hard time liking them right now. And I get that. I get that. Yet we still love them. It is uncompromising, and we acknowledge you. I celebrate all of you. I send prayers to those of you who need prayer. Actually, I send prayer whether you ask for it or not. It's just my way. I send you words of encouragement as you endure and you keep standing. For like I said, this is not over. And you may have buckled at your knees from time to time, felt it very difficult to get out of bed and face the another day, but you are still standing. So I do send you encouragement, and I also send you hugs and love to hold you up, especially those who need to be held in the periods of grief that so many are experiencing because of their losses. That's what I said. I looked for and I found a writing that I thought was meaningful to me, and I hope it touches some of you where you need to be touched. And it was a writing by Miranda Ben Hayon, and she said, "True mothering, got to read this, is an energy, holding quality of being that emanates forth from women expressing. This expression is not limited or bound to the physicality of whether one's birth of a child or not, for the quality of life permeates far greater than the physical." I love that. I love that because I find that energy of mothering under enormous weight, pressure, disappointment, sadness, fear, confusion, the enormous expenditure on your energies. It is like it comes from someplace mystical, someplace beyond, and given to us to express to others. And so I just appreciate the heck out of you. And that's it for today. And I hope to be with you again next uh, Monday. But until and always, know that you, all mothers, whatever, for whatever reason, and to whomever you're mothering, uh, we appreciate you and honor you so much.
Okay, thank you. I always start talking before I unmute. But thank you, Beverly. I was just thinking as I was listening to you, how important it is for people to know that they are appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
Just a kind word goes such a long ways. And for those of you who do know of any of the doctors or nurses that you've worked with who have children on Mother's Day, especially if you are coworkers, make sure you do wish them a happy Mother's Day, even if you might have missed it yesterday or the day before. It's always, you know how much you appreciate in general when people thank you for your service. Well, mothers appreciate that just as much when you thank them for their service. So, Beverly, thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate your service as a mother. That
You
is
know,
for
you
sure.
reminded me of something. I said that yesterday was a day of rest for me, but I
Mhm.
actually got a lot of texts, as I typically do on Mother's Day, from family and friends, different places in the country. But I also got several texts from people that I am not in constant contact with. But
Right.
even one of my oldest son's college friends from years ago, he would be 52 years old now. Uh,
Wow.
he still says hello, mom, on Mother's Day. And it just
Yeah.
reminds you of how you can make an impact on somebody's life that matters to them. And yet, we as mothers, we don't really think we really did so much. But
Right.
these
No,
people who send these other mails and say, I just, and they're grown now, but they're still,
isn't
we
that
were the
nice?
mother of many. So, yeah, thank you for reminding me of that. It does matter. It does
It
matter.
does. I love
Yeah.
hearing from my kids, my other kids, my children's friends when they were in
Hmm.
elementary,
Hmm.
high school, and
Yeah.
college. I did get those calls yesterday, and it's really special to get that to know that people even took the time to think about you enough to do that. So, for those of you that celebrated Mother's Day yesterday, Happy Mother's Day! And actually,
Happy
I feel like
Mother's
Mother's Day.
Day.
I feel like Mother's Day should be every day. I think that when you're a mom, there's an extra special thing about you. But take good care of yourselves. We'll see you next Monday right here on Mindfulness Mondays, where we'll bring to you another episode that we hopefully will be informative and also uplifting and inspiring as you continue doing the work of the first responder and the human service provider. Thanks so much for listening. We'll see you again next week. Bye bye.
Stay safe, stay well, be vigilant, and God bless.